See, well, that's what this does. For me, it was the depression. I had to go so deep into it. So now that I have shifted my whole experience with it, I feel like I've moved through every little aspect of it that I really can assist or help or enlighten in that way, because I know what it feels like to go down that Alice in Wonderland, woohoo, that little rabbit hole,
Right.
which was the biggest blessing. For Keith, it was that anxiety disorder for 8 years. That was his biggest blessing because it motivated him, right? The grist for the mill.
Um, I'm thinking of lesson 25. I don't know what anything is for.
Yeah.
And imagine if we got that when we are suffering depression, when we have that anxiety. Instead of fighting our way through it, shoving it away, bypassing it, masking it, if we simply recognize, I don't know what this depression is for. However, everything is serving the purpose of the Holy Spirit. And
Yeah.
there is something, there's a message, there is something for me, even in this.
Yes. Now that is, yes, there is a little step I feel before that, only because I moved through it personally. You have to allow yourself to feel all of it. So that narrative might be too big of a lily pad, like, okay, and I don't know what it's for. Now you'll get there. I've gotten there. So now when I have these little flush ups now, I'm like, oh well, I don't know what that's for. I'm just going to be shown. But when you're moving through intense, visceral, where you want to commit suicide, or you want to go there, that's not the lily pad that I would go to. I was really going, okay, you know what? You have to move through this. You can't jump it. You can't distract yourself. Not that I was a big distractor anyways, but hey, the distractions are out there. So,
Right.
I'm going to start to drink, Netflix, sex, I mean, whatever it is. But when those are off the table, you got to move through it. And sometimes it's going to feel like you're burning in a fire, but you are being purified. But it's not so easy to feel that or have that narrative when you're actually moving through. So I think the
Right.
biggest statement that helped me was, I don't have to identify with it. Now, I'm doesn't mean the ego is not going to rant and rage and have its show, but I started to see that I didn't have to identify with that energy flow, that narrative. So I started to create some distance, which was massively bonus for me.
So, just in case people might get the wrong impression, in no way are we talking about bypassing. As,
No.
as you mentioned, feel what you feel, because nothing changes until you do, right?
Nothing. Nada. No, it's impossible because you made it all up anyways. So you have to look at what you made.
Um, because there is a tendency these days, um, and we don't. Not everyone even calls it bypassing. A lot of people think of it as, I'm just going to put a positive spin, positive thoughts only, um,
Oh, yeah.
and there's room and room for positivity,
Yeah,
but not at the sake of the experience itself.
exactly. You're right on. And the word forgiveness. This is one thing that I found very helpful. Keith would talk a lot about the new sort of like evolved idea of what forgiveness is that it's really not opposing the moment. So true forgiveness is not opposing the moment. So that really helps with every single lesson, because the minute you get a flush up, consider yourself lucky, because it's obviously ready to be seen. Now you can take the gift, or you can, like you said, kind of bypass it, do a little spin. But again, the monkey dances are going to be there. You are going to get triggered again unless you fully feel it and then it thins out. Then there's nothing.
Right. I guess in a way we can say there's really no such thing as bypassing, because nothing, as we just said, nothing goes away. It's going to
Hmm.
appear in a different form, in a
Right,
different relationship, in a different instant or
right.
experience. But whatever it is that is that we're refusing to acknowledge is going to keep showing up and showing up and showing up.
Yeah, and we designed it that way. I mean, this is all our party. This is our thing. This is our manifest.
Right,
Right?
right,
So it's like the more you can do that work, and then you know that you've reached another space or perspective of it is when you go through the energy, whether it's a pain or an emotion or whatever it is that's burning. When you go through it legit style, you will feel a peace after that you cannot describe. It will be a freedom. And then you'll know, aha, okay, that sucker's been thinned out. Voila.
nice. And there's no time limit, right? You get it when you get it.
Get when you get it, and it takes as long as it's going to
Um,
take.
that's actually the good news, because if it keeps showing up, it means we haven't gotten it yet.
Right, right. And you get to move through it. I think that was really helpful for me too, and still is. And I use this with my clients because they'll have a grievance, and they start to realize as you show them this is an opportunity. You get to do this. You don't have to keep pointing and going outside yourself, because that you're gonna be stuck there.
Right.
And then you're always going to think that that person or something outside of yourself, then you're just the victim again, which is a rabbit hole in itself.
Um, Also an addiction, isn't it? We're sort of addicted to our
Yes,
victimhood.
yes, it is. We get addicted, like, well, same with depression and anxiety. You start to realize, wow, I'm using that as a place of, like, I'm almost defending
Mm,
my depression, or my the energy of depression, or defending this anxiety. Or it's like, what am I don't even want this. Why am I defending it? Like, you don't realize how sneaky the ego is, that ego mindset of, you start to look at you're like, do I even think that? I don't think I do. That doesn't serve me anymore.
right. I like to use the term insidious with the ego, um, because as long as we're in the body, unless you're a Ramana Maharshi or um, there, you're
Hmm.
going to have the ego, and the ego will always, no matter how much work you fit in, at least my experience, the ego will
Yeah.
always look for that back door. Um, it'll find a way to creep in, even to the point of spiritualizing itself.
Hmm. Oh, yes. Well, and I love that you mentioned, like, these great spiritual teachers. Yeah, the ego's still there. It's just they don't identify with it. It has a
Mm,
very small bandwidth, whereas before it was taking over. And that's when you do that kind of work, you start to see, oh, that's just a little floop. It has nothing to do with what I really am.